Jesus also says in his Great Commission to go and make disciples of all nations. The key word there is make disciples. And I think a lot of people see that as go and make converts of all nations. What are your thoughts on how the church has approached discipleship in today's age?
I think that we have done an abysmal job, and that's putting it kindly. And I say that as somebody I am literally a discipleship pastor at my church. Um and so I it's something I think about, and I think the way you've put it, I think that's exactly right. I think that um and when I speak of the church, I'm going to speak on behalf of the West, the American church. I've been to South Africa, I've been to England, I've been to a few other places, um, and it just seems like there are certain problems that we're facing in America that maybe not other people are. But anyways, one of the things I've seen, you nailed it on the head, is that the church has elevated conversion over discipleship. And what happens over a long period of time is you end up with churches that are filled with people who've been converted to Christianity. Now, that could mean different things to different people. Unfortunately, we've come a long way from understanding what it meant to be a follower of Christ to the early church. That meant something very different to them than I think it does to most people today. And so you've got churches filled with people who maybe don't really understand the gospel. I didn't understand the gospel till I was in my like mid to late 20s. And I grew up in church, and I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with the idea that my kids might grow up and not fully grasp the depth of what happened at Calvary, what happened with the life and the death and the resurrection, the ascension of Christ. I mean, everything in the world is different because of that. And everything that we have the potential to become and to do is different because of that. And so, I don't think the church has done a good job of discipling people in the ways of Jesus, understanding his teachings, understanding his values, his principles, his practices. Um, I think that we've settled for easy conversion. I think we've settled for, if you wanna be a Christian, just slip your hand up and just say this, prayer quietly in your head, and we're gonna leave it at that. And it's like, that's a great start, but these people who are coming to Christ and being converted, if you wanna call it that, to Christianity, that's like the first step in a lifelong process of being followers and disciples and really apprentices to Jesus. And I don't think the church has done a really good job at at walking people through the maturing process and understanding, like, what it really means. 'Cause, I mean, right now, you can be a Christian, especially where I live. Now, I've been talking about America as a whole. I'm gonna talk about, like, where I live. It's called the Bible Belt. I don't know if you've heard that term. It's called the Bible Belt, and it is, like, the most religious, shallow Christianity you can find. And that it almost makes it harder to do my job because you can go to any store anywhere. Everybody's been to church. Everybody went to Sunday school as a kid. And so everybody thinks they know what it means to be a Christian, but it's not evident in very many people's lives. And I just think that like really intentional discipleship to the ways and practices of Jesus is missing. And you've just got churches now that are filled with people who want what's comfortable, they want what's convenient, they wanna feel like they've done just enough to go to heaven when they die and not worry too much about what their life looks like up until that point. And, um, and I think that it's come at the expense of our ability to be and do who we've been called to be and do, to actually carry out the Great Commission, not just well, yes, making disciples, going into the nations and making disciples, but teaching people that that comes with a level of power and authority. Like it's like there's just a lot more to being alive in Christ and being his follower than I think a lot of people are aware of. And I think it's leaders in churches that need to be thinking about how to equip people with a greater understanding of that.